Hey, what's up for Life Without Pants with another Path of Exile video, and today's video we're going to talk about the patch notes for 0.2.0 for Path of Exile 2, and clearly spoilers ahead, but yikes! It's giving a lot of 3.15 vibes. If anybody's been playing Path of Exile 1 for a long time, it's a massive rebalance to pretty much everything. And when I say rebalance, if GGG say rebalance, they mean nerfs. So there's huge nerfs to everything. Obviously, there's a new class with the Huntress. We've got new ascendancies. I was looking at the Lich maybe doing some kind of minion thing, and now I'm not because so Archmage. We're going to go over just like a few of the things, a few of the headlines here. Obviously the Rogue Exiles and the Esmerian Wisps. This is Rogue Exiles, and the Wisps kind of seem like an amalgamation of Wisps and the Ghosts from Path of Exile 1. So that's probably going to be how we do Exiles, and Wisps is probably going to how we're going to do Magic Find. Magic Find also nerfed as well, but a few of the main sort of things is Archmage, which was really carrying a lot of builds, especially Spark and that kind of stuff. That's got a huge nerf. If we go to Archmage, we'll just zoom around here. It's gone from 3% of damage. It's gone to 3% of damage for extra 100% maximum mana you have at all levels. Previously 5 to 6, so that's half pretty much of a nerf, or half damage. Non-channeling spells now cost an additional 6.7 to 6.1 mana. Previously 5.35 to 5, so it costs even more mana to do it. And the quality now provides reduced reservation. Instead of granting non-channeling spells, gain additional damage. So it's pretty much it's pretty dead. Well, not dead. I think at very high levels, a lot of these things are still going to be quite competitive. But it's the top end is being brought down by at least half on a lot of the things that were very good before. Mind over matter. This not mind over matter. There's mana costs. Yeah, Eldritch Battery. Eldritch Battery. This was allowing you to get your mana as max ES, I think it was. And it also now adds double mana cost as well. So that was pretty egregious. I think it was a very good keystone with no downside really, or very little downside. But EB now has got double mana cost. So obviously if you're using it with Archmage, that's going to be really difficult as well. Detonate Dead. I was using this on my minion build that I was running, and it was really good for clearing, especially as soon as early levels. It was really good for clearing. You have all your little bone constructs running along, and they would occasionally kill something, and then you just DD them. And this is gone. This has got a very big nerf as well. That's going to be very missed. Grim Feast. We knew it was going to be nerfed, but it's not. It's just gone. It's just removed from the game, so it can no longer be engraved in the gem cutting menu. Existing Grim Feast gems have been disabled. We aim to rework it in the future, so maybe it'll be reworked, maybe it won't. But yeah, Grim Feast is just taken out back. They shot it in the head. Hammer of the Gods. This no longer has a cooldown, but now requires 20 glory to use, and glory is a resource that gets built up by heavy stunning enemies. The amount of glory gained is based on the stunned monster's power, so now you need to heavy stun stuff. And I wasn't playing warrior, but I was watching some warriors, and heavy stunning takes a lot of investment into, and it can take, and it's diminishing returns as well, because once you heavy stun something, it's more difficult to heavy stun it again, like with freeze. And it's just it now requires 20 glory to use. And I guess glory is going to be a bit like Val Souls, like Val skill gems in PoE1. So this is going to be pretty difficult as well. Hex Blast. Another huge nerf. So it can only detonate curses for which 50% of duration has expired. So this is going to be... I think Hex Blast is pretty dead right now. I think this is going to really reduce. Oh, they've removed it as well. So yeah, okay. So the explosion radius has been reduced as well. Oh, they removed this bit. So maybe Hex Blast is back a little bit, but this was yeah. It seems like it's nerfed pretty hard. Lightning Conduit as well. This has also been really heavily nerfed too. Lightning Bolt having more chance to shock is pretty good. Previously 100%, but it seems like a lot of things, like there's a lot of nerfs in here. There's a few, but there are a few buffs, very few buffs, but not many. Lightning Rod, now you have to disappears after being chained to 6 times. Previously 8 to 14, so your lightning rods can be easily half the use they were before. And they take 1 second to charge up before releasing a lightning burst when chained to. But lightning arrows that chain to lightning rod arrows cause the pulse to happen instantly instead of need. So they still are all in on the lightning arrow, lightning rod skill interaction that you get as basically level 2 as a ranger. But that's going to be very anybody using lightning rods otherwise is going to see a big nerf to that. Offering skills got there's a couple, I think Pain Offering and one of the other offerings, they got a big reduction from going from more damage to increased. Let me just find that here. So yeah, increased damage at gem levels rather than more spell damage. So that's very big, because if you don't know, more is a multiplier that happens like outside the brackets, and increased is one that happens inside the brackets. So yeah, Soul Offering is going to be pretty heavily nerfed as well. Spark, I was doing a Spark build. It was great. It felt good. It felt like a decent build with not a huge amount of investment, and I suppose that's what they're going for, is you have to heavily invest in anything for it to be good now. So Spark now fires 4 to 9 projectiles at gem level 1 to 20, previously 6 to 14. So that's 50% less projectiles on the top end, and no longer has increased proj speed, but the quality gives you increased proj speed instead of the 4 projectiles that you used to get. So you were going from, you've gone from 18 projectiles at 2020 down to 9. Flat, that's it. So it's maximum, it's half the number of projectiles, and it's more than half of the damage nerf as well, because the projectiles kind of shotgunning stuff. So that's pretty gone. Minion builds are going to have a lot more difficult time, because there's a lot of spirit that used to be available to them. And now, Oaksworn Unique Shield no longer provides plus 50%, 50 to Spirit, so it just gives 50% increased life regeneration rate, which is not going to be great. And there was apparently one of the skills, I think it was Scepters, were giving you Spirit when you increase the quality on them, and that fixed a bug where quality on Scepters multiplied the amount of Spirit they granted instead of granting quality to their inherent skills. So if you had a Scepter with 50 Spirit and level 5 summon skeletons, then the quality on the Scepter was supposed to give quality to the summon skeletons and not to the amount of Spirit that you were getting on the Scepter, which seems meh. I mean, yeah, so there's going to be a lot less Spirit available to minion builds from that. Grenades now have grenades now have a small amount random variation in travel distance when firing multiple grenades at once. So that means they're not just going to it's not going to be 3 grenades just going and then stopping. They're going to be, it's going to seem a bit better, but grenades got huge nerfs to how long it takes for them to the cooldowns. Some of the voltaic grenade cooldowns now 6 seconds, previously 3. Like, grenades already weren't amazing. Gas arrow, gas grenades, and decompose now have a limit of 6 poison clouds, so your clear is going to be worse on grenades. The cooldown on a lot of them is also much worse too. That's going to be difficult. Heralds can't chain off of each other anymore. Now, that was fully warranted. Every time I got excited to see a new build, I was like, oh, maybe this is going to be amazing. Oh, it's heralds again. It's just heralds. So heralds, I think that's, it's absolutely fine, and it's not, it was pretty egregious already, so that's fine. Magic Find got nerfed too. Let's see if we can find rarity. So there's a lot of items that used to grant rarity now grant a lot less. There's 10% increased rarity of items found per socketed soul rune or soul core is no longer available on Moria Invictus. They said they basically removed all the good Moria Invictus stuff like max life, max mana, increased attributes, and rarity, and they've replaced them with some maybe good ones, maybe not. On the subject of Magic Find, the Soul of the Ass Clappers, Soul Core of Ass Clappers, the Soul Core of the Ass Clapper now has 5% increased quality of gold dropped by slain enemies. Previously 10% increased rarity of items found. So this is probably going to be the best one, the cheapest one to be able to use now for 3-to-1ing into a good Soul Core. So that's maybe good, because some of the other Soul Cores were pretty good. So now Soul Core of the Ass Clappers has gone from the one that you want to see to the one that you want to see to be able to 3-to-1. Base presence is now 4 meters. Let's see if we can find presence. Presence base radius is now 4 meters, previously 6. This is pretty big for minions. So minions is going to be even more difficult to play. There's a lot of player changes as well. We've gone through most of the skills, and the base presence is now 4 meters, previously 6. That's going to be pretty difficult because there's lots of things that rely on your presence. You can scale presence still on minion builds, and maybe that's what they wanted, more itemization of more investment into presence as a radius or as a stat. Obviously, with all of the changes that we've got, we're going to have to heavily invest in lots of itemization already. There's a lot of other things here in the player changes. I'm not sure, like, there's characters are now required to be level 25 to enter cruel and 50 to enter endgame. I'm not sure, like, clearly some kind of person was abusing something. Freeze now builds up roughly 48% slower on enemies. So if you're using freeze as a layer of defense, that layer of defense is now half as effective. I think they said they increased the freeze build up on cold skills. So if you were trying to do like spark with Call of the Brotherhood, convert lightning to cold and then use that as a layer of defense, that's half ways gone. Player base ailment threshold is now half of maximum life, previously all maximum life. So another nerf to players just across the board. Half of your your ailment immunity, you don't have ailment immunity, but your ailment resilience is gone. So that was pretty difficult. That's going to be pretty difficult. Candlemass Essence now provides 5% life instead of previously 8. There's a bunch of other stuff that's going to be pretty difficult for players. The Soul Eater, though, got nerfed. For as far as monsters go, there's let's see if we can find Soul Eater. So there are monster changes, and this is one of the things that I really, really wanted to see, is that they said repeatedly in the interviews, like, oh, now we have a good idea of where we want player power to be. And they're going to, rebalance as appropriate. And at no point have they ever said if they have a good idea of where they want monster power to be, because the monsters are just fast. They keep talking about engaging combat or meaningful combat, and that means that I shouldn't be afraid of 3 white mobs. The monsters are very fast, they attack very quickly. The heavy stun now is basically going to mean you die. If you get heavy stunned, you get heavy stunned for 3 seconds. You can't evade, you can't block, you can't do anything when you're heavy stunned now in the game. So you're going to get very, very punished for getting heavy stunned once, probably with a death. If you're in hardcore, you're very, very likely to either invest into full damage or just all defense and very, very little damage. But armor on monsters has been reduced by 30%. And is that good? I don't know. I wasn't playing an armor breaking build, and I'm not sure how much the armor was really affecting us. But Soul Eater, like I said, now grants 1% skill speed and 1% less damage taken per stack. Previously, 5% and 2%. But then they can also get a stack up to 50 now instead of 45. So that's, I didn't encounter Soul Eater that much. It was around for sure, but this is basically the biggest nerf to rare monsters that I can see. All monsters have reduced armor by 30%. Armor was already not great. So it seems like huge nerfs to players, and the monsters are generally going to be the same. They're still very, very fast. They still they just rush you, and it's going to make it much, much more difficult. As far as items go, Ingenuity belt. Ingenuity got nerfed twice. It got nerfed once during the patch notes and then once again an hour later. So the first one it went from 40 to 80% increased bonuses from equipped rings to 30 to 50% for the right ring and 30 to 50% for the left ring. And that's because with one of the new ascendancies, you get a third ring slot, so you can have that. And also, Ingenuity was just by far and away the best belt in the game. Nobody was really using anything else. Because the mods on belts are bad, because there's nothing great, there's not much competition in the belt slot. So they're not bad per se, but there's just nothing great there. So Ingenuity got nerfed down to 30 to 50% from left ring, 30 to 50% from right ring. And then an hour later, it went from that to 20 to 30% from right ring and 20 to 30% from left ring, and then some charm slots stuff. And charms are already not amazing. So I guess there's going to be 100 new uniques though, so maybe there's going to be some really good competition in the belt slot, and maybe there's going to be some really good charms. Maybe charms will become relevant at some point. Maybe we'll get Mage Blood, and it'll just say charms always apply their effects to you instead of leftmost 2 to 4 charm slots always apply their effects to you. Maybe they'll say something like that. Maybe it won't though. We don't know yet. And so this Hands of Wisdom in Action. This also got nerfed a lot as well. It's like a double nerf. So it went from lightning damage per 10 intelligence to per 20. It went from attack speed per 3% per 25 dexterity to 1% per 20. So, and this is going to, unlike a lot of these things, this is going to affect new current items, current versions of that. And they changed the base type as well, so I'm assuming that's not too interesting. But Pillar of the Caged God as well, another good unique, also now in the dumpster. So it went from 1 attack speed per 10 to and 1% increased AoE per 10 int to it went to 1% from 2. And it went from 10% weapon damage, it's gone to 10% weapon damage per 10 strength, previously 10% per 5 strength. So another 50-50 nerf on that. And these things relied on attributes. Attributes got huge nerfs across the board as well. So lots of the attack speed nodes and attribute percentage nodes, like Polymath, went from I think 10% down to 7. They all got nerfed pretty hard. So attribute stacking's probably dead for a little while. Is it the end of the world? No. Are they the worst nerfs we've had in Path of Exile 2? No, they're just the worst nerfs we've had in Path of Exile 2 so far. There's years left for more. So it's not so bad. I'm thinking I'm going to try out Huntress. The spears look pretty interesting. I was having a look at a Ziggy D profile video yesterday. We were looking at it on the stream, and it had a review of some of the Huntress skills and the whirlwinds, like the Wile E. Coyote twisters that you get to throw around. Those look pretty fun and interesting. So I think we're going to do that and see where we land, see if it's fun, see what the end game is like. I'm looking forward to trying out fracturing orbs. I know what they do, but trying out the new end game tweaks, see what happens with that. And honestly, there's science for us to do. There's new ritual omen chances that we want to figure out. I want to make sure that they didn't danig us with the percentage chances on the recombinator. Figuring out the recombinator is going to be pretty interesting as well. So that seems like it's going to be good. Hopefully they address monster speed and monster power at some point. I'm not going to hold my breath, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. And if not, there's always 2 Voidstone runs in Path of Exile 1. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope it's going to be good. I'm going to see you on the beach on Friday, Exiles. But with that, I hope you're kind to everyone you meet. I love you all very much. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.